Hello, my friends. Today, I want you to know that your future self needs you more than your past self does. And your past self needs you to become the next expression of you in order to continue existing as themselves. This might sound strange, but something that I see a lot in folks in recovery is that there's so much feeling of loss around who we used to be. And that can go in a lot of different directions. Like maybe your past self was the most happy, successful, healthy version of you. And you can't believe you're in a position of not being able to believe that this is where you are, that it could get this bad, or you could be here. And maybe it's different. Maybe your past self was traumatized and abused and just so deeply sad and limited and stuck. And it almost feels like a betrayal to let them go and move on and become a healthy, whole version. Like, how do I give a testament to all that I've been through suffering wise if I'm just forgetting about it and moving on? So regardless of what your past is, this is something that our limbic brains really have a lot of attachment to our self-perception, who we see ourselves as. Our ego wants to survive. And you can think of ego in this sense as your identity on a perceptual level, like your sense of yourself, your own interpretation of yourself. But in order for you to stay alive, you have to keep changing because time goes on and life requires aliveness means change. That's part of how we know something is alive, is that it keeps changing. And there's an element here that is really, there's a couple aspects of brain function that make this tricky. One is that our limbic systems really only know what we've already experienced. Like that's all that they believe in. They're very much like doubting Thomas. It's like, if I've experienced it, I can believe it's true. They're also very good at imagining scary things. So, if you've imagined all kinds of horrible, scary things you haven't experienced, that's the only way your limbic brain knows how to be creative is like trying to anticipate the next threat. But generally speaking, our brains see us as who we have been. This is who I have been, and this is who I am. And if that was bad, like bad meaning we were suffering, we were, limited, we felt ill, we were symptomatic, we were stuck. That's a sense of like, this is who I am. This is just who I am. So like if we start behaving differently, the brain's always going to pull you back to who you have been and how it currently perceives you. On the other hand, if you used to be successful and really healthy and really like thriving, and at this point you're feeling the opposite, a lot of times there's a sense of loss of like, oh, if I could just go back. I even see this in recovery. Sometimes we have a honeymoon period at the beginning of recovery and the brain just keeps wanting to go back to like that time. How do we get back to it? How do I relive that? Because it's the only thing that your brain knows to be something that's reliable because it's already experienced it. But here's the thing about being human. And I want to use a simple analogy that I think most of you can connect with is like, think of a musician or an artist that has had a really long career and produced a lot of different music, a lot of different things, or even someone in your life who's just older and they've been pretty alive their whole lives and they've done a lot of different things in different points of their lives. There's different phases to life. But like, say your favorite musician has made, 12 to 20 albums over 30 to 50 years. There's a couple of them out there, not too many, but if they hadn't kept evolving, you wouldn't have all of that. In order for you to continue to enjoy who they are, they had to let go of who they used to be. And the same thing goes for you. So the second part of this that is really important is to know, and this is the part that's hard because limbic brains just focus on what we know, but there is so much more to you, to who you are as a person, to all the aspects of your personality and your being. There's so many more good things in life, good phases, different types of goodness that you've never experienced before. So you don't know they're there. And that's your challenge. That's your invitation, is to believe more in who you can become and all the different sides of the diamond of who you are that you haven't yet embodied, haven't yet experienced. There is so much more to you than who you've already been. And there's so much more to life than what you've already experienced. But it takes faith. Our brains don't like that. We have to go out on faith. And even if you see everybody else do it, it still takes a great leap of faith within yourself to say, I'm going to invest more in who I'm becoming than who I used to be. And also recognize that's not a betrayal of that person. That is me being true to them. because that successful person didn't want that their intention was not to have their moment of success and then become the person who lives in the glory days. And that person who suffered that trauma and that abuse and that horror didn't do that so that we could just stay stuck living, reliving it forever. Whoever that person was existed so you could become the next version of you. That's how you do them justice. That's how you be true to yourself. And yeah, it takes a lot of faith, but that's something to honor. And also realize this: you cannot lose who and what you have been. It's impossible. That person is there. Maybe you have photographic evidence, maybe you don't, maybe you have, recordings, maybe you have memories. That person existed, and in all of their pain or glory or whatever, whoever they were, whatever they were going through, you can't lose them. That was a season of your life. That person, thank them, honor them, celebrate them, love them. That's you. It's all you. It's a great song by Beyonce called Cozy. She goes through part of the Renaissance album, which saved my life many times. And that song, she goes through all these iterations. I've been broke, I've been down, I've been this, I've been that, and it's all me. It's all me. It's all you. You are all of those people. You didn't lose that person. That's still who you are, but now you get to become a different version of you and experience a new flavor of goodness, a new flavor of yourself. So as you go through recovery, know that the highs are defined by the bleh and the plateau and the lows. A high wouldn't be high if life was high all the time. And a low wouldn't be a low if life was high all the time. And the high wouldn't feel the way it does. We wouldn't learn and experience that exhilaration unless there was some just, grungy transformation and gooey shedding of the, caterpillar experience. Like, that's part of what makes life worth living. So embrace where you are, but love your future self. Invest in your future self. Invest your energy in that person. Thank the old version of you and let them stay where they are in the past. Build on that. Love you guys.